course, you got to do it in the middle of a snowstorm in Canada, right? Like, it's the perfect time to start. This is how I find my team and make decisions. I give people a test. Blinders on, focused.
Fantastic. Recruitment strategy.
Right?
Recruitment 101. You need to sleep more before you speak to me next time, sir.
No, come on. You would rock the purple velvet with a little tail.
I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh, I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh.
We're here. Dr. Tess is here to fix me because I'm a broken human. And this is what she does, right? Does that pretty much summarize it, Tess?
Yes. Is that the right answer for you this morning?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's evening for you, isn't it? So you've had a big day. I've had a big morning.
I've had a big day. I thought about you a lot today.
Did you?
I thought about you last night, early this morning, because I went to sleep at 5:45 this morning.
What?
Yeah, and like, oh, Dr. Tess is gonna be so angry at me. Is the best.
Are you like 13? What are you doing?
Sometimes.
Staying up all night?
That's amazing. You know, I'm. Somebody asked me how old I was, and I said I am 39. I act like I'm 13, but I think like I'm 93.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's
So
probably
yes, I'm 13.
34.
I love it.
You're 13.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Life with a
Is this
13-year-old.
because you had coffee late? Was that yesterday?
It did. So I had coffee late. That's not a good start. I wasn't even thinking. Anyways, yesterday was kind of a weird day, but with a friend in the hospital, helping them, all that stuff. But everything's fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like had coffee. Not even thinking like I haven't had anything, so just get a coffee. Like, oh my gosh, it's 4:00. That's not a good start. And then I started working on my website. You know, while I'm waiting there at the hospital, work on my website, and then I just decided to finish the website, and then we launched it. So my homepage is up as of today. New homepage.
I saw. I had a look.
Yeah, it's up.
I had a look.
It's mobile friendly.
Exciting.
I did the whole thing in, I don't know, 6 hours. I went
Well
to
done.
bed at like 2:30, I want to say, but then I couldn't sleep. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna get up. My guys in Europe are waking up, so like we could actually launch this thing today. So let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I fell asleep, but I went to bed again at 5:30. And they're like, oh man, Dr. Tess is not gonna be happy. Why am I talking to her tomorrow? This is the best.
Yeah.
But then listen, I slept, so I've been on my no alarm kick, right? Did we talk about this?
Yep.
Okay.
We didn't, but I have noticed that you're doing it, but we haven't talked about it.
Oh, we haven't talked about it. Okay, so I went to do my sleep study. I was very angry, not angry, but disappointed because he says my sleep, whatever, data said that I just need more sleep.
Yeah.
I need to be sleeping like 8.5 to 9 hours a night for me, for my
We
body.
talked about that, but we haven't talked about your no alarm thing, which I think is really cool.
Okay, so then I decided, okay, well, I'm just gonna do a no alarm and just listen to my body and go to sleep when I wake up. And I've been doing it for, I don't know, 2 weeks, something like that. And so last night was super weird. Like usually I'm in bed by 11. So now I'm in bed at 2:30, doesn't work. Go to bed again at 5:30. I'm like, oh man, if I wake up like I normally do, I'm gonna be toast. I got meetings, I got calls all day long. I got to end with Dr. Tess. But then I woke up at 10:30 or something.
Yeah.
Which is 5 hours. So it's not like I'm a walking zombie today. And I'm so happy because when was the last time I woke up at 10:30 in the morning not even on a weekend, but like I never wake up. I'm so excited that.
Yeah. When you were 13.
I'm 13 again. This is great. This is amazing. This is the secret. This is the secret, guys. Go to bed at 5:30. Mark Drager, friend of the channel, was just waking up. He messaged me at 4:45 in the morning, asking me a question. He was surprised that I was still up. So he was just waking up. I was just going to bed. Anyway, so I was proud that I still got. I was worried I was going to get 2 hours sleep, and then I would crash. I would be majorly crashing right now. 5 is not like, as long as I sleep tonight, I'll be fine. Anyway, so yes, so the no alarm challenge is going. I've been sleeping probably about 8.5 hours every night. It destroys me, but I just embraced it. I'm not happy about it, but I embraced it.
Yeah.
And it's going.
Well, that's what we talked about. You know, what needs to change so that your self-care, using the whole sleep issue and not waking up refreshed as an opportunity to reassess your self-care. So you've changed something and it's working for you. And I think now I might have been listening to you and Mark.
Okay.
But somewhere you said that you're feeling more refreshed when you wake up now.
Well, and you know how I love going counterculture. So one of the things that I've been really focusing on is I want to wake up after the sun. Yeah, I find that helps. Like everybody's now like, I want to beat the sun up. I want to wake up before the sun. It's the race. Like, no, if the sun is still down, I want to stay in bed until the sun has come up. I find it easier to get up when the sun is up.
Well,
I feel more if I'm refreshed.
You know, when we didn't have alarms, we woke with the sun,
right.
And we went to bed with the sun. You know, so we didn't have electricity to keep us awake. You know, we went to bed with the sun.
Easier is probably the wrong word because I don't mind. I like difficult things, but I feel more refreshed when I wake up with the sun. So as part of my new Dr. Tess regimented self-care mandate that I signed in blood. And so anyway, I'm feeling pretty good.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
I'm feeling
I have
good.
a copy.
Oh, great. Yes. My blood got shipped to Australia. So that's going. The no alarm challenge is going. I'm feeling good. Even today when I had very little sleep, I'm still feeling pretty good. So I just need to make sure I get my sleep tonight. And if it's sun's not up, I try to go back to bed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So do you schedule like your morning stuff? What time do you start having obligations? Because I'm guessing for me, I start, because I'm such an internationalist, I start my morning obligations at stupid o'clock, like 7 a.m.
Right? Stupid o'clock. It's the best.
But as we discovered this morning, that doesn't always work out for me. But so what time do you start? Because I would find it stressful. I need an alarm as a backup for myself so that I know that I'm awake for my obligations that are quite early. But on a weekend, usually on a weekend, I let myself sleep and wake with the sun. So do you start your morning obligations at what sort of time? You know, your commitments to other people, I mean.
So I usually go through my morning routine, but my first official commitment typically is 9 in the morning when I go Instagram live. But I didn't do it today. I posted last night at 2:30 in the morning, or maybe it was 5:30. Like, I'm not going to be online, guys, tomorrow at 9. And then usually the mornings are to myself to do my routine, right? My 5 S's as I go through.
What are your 5 S's?
Oh, so sing. First thing I do is sing. So put on music. First thing, because music changes your state. Then sun. So I go outside. I just like to get some fresh air. Oh, and I made a change around that today. That's insane. We'll talk about it. Anyway, sun. And then soar. So that's when I go live on Instagram to whatever makes me soar, which for me is helping and contributing to entrepreneurs. So not just reading comments and doing work, but like actually helping somebody. And then sweat, so some kind of workout, and then scare, which is usually cold shower. So I go through those 5 S's in some format pretty much every day. On a day like today, no, but you know, I'm pumped with what I did last night. So I was just looking at my calendar here, and my first call was 12:30. But so I'm eating into my own time. I'm eating into my morning routine. I'm eating into my like I look at my websites in the morning. But that's once I came. This is like what are the stages? Like when you have some prognosis, you like fight it, and then what are the stages? I'm in acceptance. I'm in the last phase.
Stages according to who though?
Oh, I don't know. What are the phases? Just like denial, then there's angry, and then what are the phases? You know what I'm talking about.
I think you're trying to talk about stages of grief, which we don't really do anymore.
No. Like if somebody gives you like you are gonna die, or you have cancer or something, or you have to lose your leg.
Yeah.
Stages of grief? Is that what it's called?
Well, there's stages of all sorts of things, but the stages of grief is probably where that stuff comes from mostly, but we don't really talk.
I see it. You know what? This is garbage, stages of grief. So it's denial,
exactly
anger,
right. This
bargaining.
is why we don't talk about it anymore.
But there should be I don't like that. The last one is acceptance. I think that's BS. The last one should be service. Like once you've accepted it, then you help others with the same thing. How is service not on here? Like when people, one of the 12 steps for AA is you have to help other, like that's what keeps people on the program is you help other people who will have the same thing. So denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and then service. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and David Kessler.
Yes.
Anyway.
Very famous people. Very famous writers in the
Service
field.
needs to be, it's the missing piece. It's the 6 stages. It's what actually helps
you let them know. You let them know.
They just got notified.
Tell them I sent you.
Anyway, so now I've accepted it. I've accepted that my morning routine won't be as rigid, won't be as structured. I don't usually book. So Nina woke me up one day because what did we have? When we were in Calgary, we had to get our flight or something.
Yeah.
So there's some mornings, I guess, where like something might happen that I have to be, wake up for. I think it was when anyway, and when you have jet lag sometimes and traveling, and today was an exception because I had a crazy sleep last night. But for the most part, my mornings, I've just had to adjust. I've accepted it. I'm in the 5th stage, and now I'm in the 6th stage of service because I'm telling people I want to wake up after the sun, not before.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on a sleep like push now.
Sleep push. Sleep's amazing. Sleep's one of those things that when it goes wrong, it can go really wrong. Sorry, I've got my camera wobbling. It can go really, really wrong. After my first son was born, and we had a really tough time for lots of reasons. And at about 4.5 weeks, we were admitted to a mother and baby unit to try and figure out what was going on with him, which we got sorted out in the early stages. But I was so physically and emotionally depleted from exhaustion. And I often say to my therapy clients who are new parents, the only reason I know it wasn't postnatal depression was because after one good night's sleep in the mother baby unit, I was back to my normal self, so exhaustion. That's why we use sleep deprivation as a form of torture, or we don't, but people use sleep deprivation as a form of torture because it works, right?
So only in the doctor's test sessions. If you sign up for her 12-month mastermind.
Yeah. Ask my client.
Get ready for Hell Week.
Oh, they'll tell you. But it works, right? Sleep deprivation, that level of exhaustion, you would sign your life over for anything because it eats at you. And so this is why we take it, psychologists, we take it really seriously when people's sleep is out of whack. Like it's actually a really important issue because it can affect so many other systems. So I'm really glad that you've sacrificed some of your routine so that you can do this and get your sleep.
Yeah, it's not that bad once you get used to it. I was just in massive denial. Like, this is not true. I don't want to have to sleep 8.5 to 9 hours. This is crazy. Like, how do I get down to 7? What's my hack? Because I want to be more productive. But anyway, I have felt in that when I wasn't getting like 7.5, 8, then I was really feeling it. So I had to make sure that I had to get at least that. But anyway, he's telling me I need more, which I'm not very.
Well, that's the thing. See, most people assume 8 hours. People assume 8 hours.
Yeah. But
anywhere between 6 and 10 is the normal range. And so everyone's different in terms of what they need. I think I might have told you my body's preference is 10 hours. And I very rarely get that. I'm at the top end of the spectrum, right?
I know a psychologist who you might want to talk to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Is she any good?
She kicks some butt. Makes you do things.
Awesome. Sounds like my kind of person.
Sometimes she hops on other live streams that you're a part of, but other than that, she's great.
Yeah, I heard she's pretty rude like that. That was hilarious though.
Okay, so
yeah.
I have some more updates for you. You're gonna.
Oh, good.
I think you're gonna like. So last month, I don't know if I really fully did the thing. So we talked about. So last month I think it was at the airport, right? When I was just leaving the airport.
Yes.
And we talked about self-care, and I had my Baileys with me, and like, this is my test self-care.
Yes.
I remember that was great. And we talked about healthy self-compassion.
Yes.
And so, you give me things and I sit with them and then try to do something with it. So how this manifested was, it was my 7-year anniversary with Nina. And we went to
Congratulations to you both.
Right?
Beautiful.
And we went to New York. And so I looked up, I was thinking, I for whatever reason, I thought maybe it's because it was inspired by the anniversary. How do we have more self-compassion between us in the relationship? Not just like me for myself. And so I looked up these 9 different questions to ask yourself.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw you post something on that. Yeah.
I posted it to my Instagram. So, and so we went to a coffee shop and then we just went through those questions. And it led to some changes. And so we wrote it down. This is our New York cafe called the Ameritania at Times Square. And the later questions weren't super revealing, but the changes that we made were, one, to go back to dancing consistently. So Sunday nights at my dance studio, we're going to be there more regularly. I like dancing to my own music, like my favorite songs. So I talked to the DJ and said, hey, like the first set, play my music, and then you pick the rest of the night. So we're going to go and make them more consistent. We're doing a morning stretch and workout routine. So I like doing more working out. Nina likes more stretching, yoga kind of stuff. So I do that with her. So I do my neck stretches that I need to do because I'm still doing physio for my neck. And then we do about 20 minutes of whatever. She picks a stretching video and we do that together. And then we'll do she joins me for push-ups and stuff that she's not a huge typically fan of.
Nice.
Yeah. And so like it was good. It was fun. And made like right away made some, you know how we are, like idea to action, like
Yeah.
And then today, the thing that I'm hooked on now, walking meetings.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I'm already a weird duck and that I'm on a trampoline and I'm standing up all day and bouncing. But I thought this morning, I want to do walking. Of course, you got to do it in the middle of a snowstorm in Canada, right? Like it's the perfect time to start. And I woke up, launched my website, like walking meetings. We need more of it.
Yeah, I tried to implement this in my office last year. Yeah, and it didn't really go anywhere. I interviewed Clay Cockrell. He's a therapist from New York.
Ooh.
And he got well known for doing walk and talk therapy.
Okay.
In Central Park, right? And for the same reason, busy entrepreneurs or whatever else, don't necessarily have the time to get to his office or they don't want to sit in another office for an hour because they sit in an office all day long. So he started this thing of walking therapy. And I think walking meetings, walking therapy, walking anything is a cool thing. I have my meetings walking. Most mornings I'm meeting with a group of people at 6 a.m. and I do that walking. And that's an online meeting, but I do that walking most mornings.
Yeah.
We could do our podcast walking.
Well, I ran out of battery on my phone, but yeah, I mean, so Steve Jobs was famous for doing walking meetings. Maybe it's because I was working at 5 a.m. and like you stare me down, and I don't know where it came from, but so my plan was Monday I meet with Monday's my mentoring day, so I'm meeting with Alex. He's going to come over, and we usually meet for 2 hours every Monday. So I was say, okay, Monday we're going to do walking meeting. And I told our mutual friend Mark Drager on the podcast today, And Mark and I had to do a back-to-back show. We had our podcast, and then we had this Path to 10 Million show. And I told him on the podcast that I'm going to start this thing on Monday. He's like, why don't you just start right now? You could do our show walking. I'm like, I love that idea. This is great. This is the Mark
Tell
Jacob
your
we need.
story walking. Tell your story walking.
So I just came back inside from doing my second show with Mark while holding a tripod out and filming from the street. And then my phone battery died. It lasted just enough, but it died for this. But anyway, I am, and then I messaged my guy Alex. Said, Alex, get ready Monday. Bring your hat. Bring your warmest coat. We're walking for 2 hours while we meet. And so he's like, I'm nervous, but let's do it. Like, let's go. So yes, self-care, walking meetings. I'm a fan. I've done one, so we'll see how it goes. But
see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See how it goes.
Why did it not work in your practice? What happened?
Probably because I didn't push it. So I'll own that. I didn't push it. It was a great idea that we had that never got followed through hard enough.
Because you didn't believe in it, or you just didn't care enough, or what?
I
want to learn, because
yeah, I think it will probably work. You've got people leaving the office to come to your place to have these meetings, where I used to do that, and then that stopped, and my meetings were taking place in the office, and getting people to leave the office was the barrier. I think getting people to leave their workspace, which is silly, really.
These are clients.
No, these are staff.
Staff. You couldn't get your own staff to,
Yeah, they'll tell you I'm a pushover.
I mean, I'll just push it through. Like, Alex, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Bring your hat. We're walking.
No, I think for me, it wasn't a big enough priority. It just wasn't a big enough priority. It was an idea. It was a good idea or a nice idea, but I didn't push it at the time. But I did. I did contemplate it.
There are some that I know won't work. Like when Jeremy comes over on Monday, Jeremy does the YouTube consulting on my team. And so we need to look at data and laptops and computers, and like, that's not super feasible walking with that. So he'll still have to do, but I'm thinking my IG lives every morning.
Yep.
Let's go. And then
why not?
As many meetings and podcasts and shows as possible.
Walking.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
I love it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'll push it on people.
Yeah. Just give me notice. I've got my shoes on.
Oh, well, you don't have to join me. Like when we're doing this, Mark was in his office, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. His home office.
Okay.
But I was, when I asked you why it didn't happen, because it's more staff, right?
Yep.
I'm just gonna tell Alex we're doing it, and then
Yeah.
But we're not meeting. He doesn't have to show up, I guess.
I'm sure Alex will love it.
Let me ask you this. So I don't know what this might be, a related tangent, or I'm just going off on some crazy one.
That's okay.
Tied into like working with me. So there are two kinds of projects that I work on. The ones that are ongoing, that are consistent, that we know have to get done, that are repeatable. We've been doing it, like making videos for my YouTube channel, making the top 10 video. We've been doing it for years. We know the structure. There's a process, right? It's not just a photocopy, but there's a process. We know how many we're going to do. We know roughly how long it takes. Everybody has their role, and they go off and do it.
Yep.
And that's probably most of the stuff that happens in my company for all the people, right? Like they're all doing their roles, and we're injecting some new things, but they know what their role is. And then I go crazy on different ideas, right? Evan decides that he's launching a new homepage.
Yep.
And then when I'm working on it, it's like the only thing that matters. This is going to be willed into existence. It's happening. And whatever, like, I'm always trying to pull resources to help. Like, if I thought you could help me, hey, Tess, are you up? Hey, Tess, can you help me with this thing? Because it has to happen right now. And if you can't, awesome. If you're there, great. Right. But if you're not free, I'm going to find somebody else, or I'm going to figure it out myself. Right. So I'm working on a graphic for the banner, and I don't know how to do it. So I messaged my designer. He's not up yet. So, okay, whatever. He's not up. I'm going to do it. And I messaged him
Yep.
45 minutes later. Don't worry about it, man. I did it. Right. And part of why I stayed up till 5:45 was my web guy was coming online. So I knew he could we could actually launch it right now. Right. Because once I'm into Friday, I'm meeting you, I like Mark, and it's like, I'm not thinking about my website anymore. I'm super just blinders on, focused. So for some people, they love that. And they're always like rising to the occasion and can't wait for the next one. And some people, they can't be part of the inner circle team because they're just too slow and can't keep up, and like stresses them out. And so I've just kind of learned, I'll usually throw a small test at somebody like, hey, can you help me with this? And if they're not getting back to me within like 10 minutes, I'm moving on to something else. And I never know when it's going to happen. And so I don't know. I think it's just who I am, and just managing like who loves being a part of that process, and who, like, some people, when they get inside the inner circle and start working the one-on-one, they realize how demanding it can be in moments. And some people love that, and some people like have to go back to the regular day-to-day team because it's just too crazy,
too intense. Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me. But
okay.
what's your question? What's your question about it?
I don't know. It just felt like, I don't know if I have a question, maybe an observation. It feels like it's the best, and I should just keep doing it as long as my team just having the awareness about like who loves that and who can't handle it and needs to be just managing them.
Who's going to be burnt out by that? I think it's the CEO thing, isn't it? You're the ideas person. You're the one that's going to have these crazy ideas, and you're the one that's going to immerse yourself in them, and you're the one that's going to be fired up the most by that. And that's why you have an inner team anyway, because they're the people who are going to be vibed off that. They're totally energized by being around those ideas as they're generated and being part of the idea to action process and all of that stuff. But you're right, it really is important to be sensitive to the ones who aren't energized by that work. They're exhausted by that work, because obviously they're the ones that are going to burn out and you lose them.
Yeah, or they're too slow or non-responsive.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know, just an observation.
And that's a sign in itself, though, isn't it? If they were totally energized by the work, they wouldn't be slow. Unless the slowness is perfectionism and procrastination, and then that's a different issue that you have to address. But
yeah, I mean, if somebody's maybe I used the wrong word, because if they're slow, they're probably not going to be a fit anywhere in my company. It's more slow on response time, because I'm working on this right now. I have this window right now to get as far as I can on this thing. And if you're online in 3 hours, like, I'm probably moving on to something else already. So like, you're here, let's go, or you're not. So more just not being online or not being responsive enough to what's happening. And it's not blaming them or making them feel bad. I'll just find another way.
Yeah.
Like, you're here, let's do it. Great. Not okay. Awesome. I'll find somebody else. No, I'll do it myself and just make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. That sounds efficient to me. It sounds efficient.
I don't want to change it, but it's also erratic in that I'm not like that every day.
So you get these bursts of idea related energy. So you have the idea, and then there's this all in energy that comes with the idea.
And this has to happen, right? Like, even the whole thing with Jeremy, Jeremy, who's now, he's got a 6-figure business coaching people on YouTube and building their channels. At the start of this year, he was a grocery clerk at a store, hating his job. And like in March or April, I had this idea driving through the desert that I want to start this business with Jeremy and teach him everything about YouTube and help clients grow their companies.
Yep.
And I had to get him on a call while I was on the drive in the desert, or it wasn't going to happen. Like, that's how it was. We're driving through the desert. Then it became like the only thing that mattered. I'm driving. I messaged Nina. She's right next to me. Nina, we need to get a hold of Jeremy. And he said, yeah, I'm interested. Like, okay, we need to get him on a call, like within the next 20 minutes. He's like, well, he's messaged back. I'm at work. I'm going to finish soon. Like, dude, I need to talk to you. Like, if you want, we need to talk right now. While I'm in this energy, we need to figure this out. And if he didn't make it happen, and I get, like, he's busy at work, his dog died, like, I get it, awesome, right? But if it was an hour later or the next day, I don't even know what we talked about yesterday. What was the idea?
Oh, your famous memory. Yeah.
I'm out of that energy. I'm out of that zone.
Yeah, for sure. And but that's the creative process, isn't it? You know, that's the creative process. And I think that, you know, entrepreneurs have that strong, rock solid, creative streak that is very much about ideas and energy, and the capacity to put action to the idea and the energy, as opposed to, you know, the people who have the ideas, but then it fizzles because there's no energy follow through or no action follow through with those ideas. Same with the creative process for artists. You know, artists are, that's what we see artists do. That's the stereotype of the artist. You know, beautiful idea, energy comes from the idea, and they're right in there till 3 a.m, right. 6 a.m, until it's done, because it's all encompassing. Yeah. It's got to happen.
You just got to push everything to make that thing happen.
Yeah. That's it. I think, because otherwise, what's the alternative? You have a great idea and you sit on it.
Death. That took you back. That's how I see it, right? It's like, it's just death. The idea of waiting.
Yeah.
Until when?
Yeah. I think this is where you say it destroys your soul.
Yeah. It actually is death. Like, most people die with all of their ideas still inside them. It's death.
Yeah. That's just so sad. That's a sad thought. That's a sad concept. Dying with all your ideas inside you, all that potential.
That's
it's heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. Yeah. Totally heartbreaking. I think, you know, and I think that you've got young entrepreneurial, spirited, struggling with my words today, people surrounding you who have the capacity for that energy and can see the ideas. They can share your vision. And I think it's very hard for most people to find that kind of team, to surround themselves with that kind of team. It's you know, and that can be a stifling thing, because you can't do all things yourself.
This is why I like giving people small tests. Like, if Jeremy didn't get on a call in 20 minutes, I probably wouldn't have ever done that deal with him. Yeah. Mark pushed me to find a creative director. We've been talking about, like, I want a creative director for my company. And I haven't found the right person, somebody to really vibe with. And there was a guy who I met in Florida who I thought maybe is a potential fit. Did I tell you this story with the pants?
I don't think so.
This is it. So a guy in Florida who I thought might be a fit, super artistic, like. Yeah. And I said, hey, man, I got a challenge for you. Like, yeah, okay, what do you got? I love my hoodies. You know, they stand out. I love my shoes. They have these Japanese wrap shoes that really stand out. But my pants, I don't know, they're just okay. You think you can help me find some new pants? And he said, what? Like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. And he didn't, you know, he didn't. Like, okay, that's it. I'm done. This is how I find my team and make decisions. I give people a test. Help me find some pants.
Fantastic. Recruitment strategy. Right? Recruitment 101.
I think that's actually genius. Because if you're going to love working with me, we're going to do that kind of stuff. I'm going to decide that we're only doing walking meetings. And if you hate that idea, then
It's not going to work out.
Maybe it's a one-off because you can't walk or you only have one leg or whatever. Okay, but in general, like my creative director should love the challenge of helping me find some new pants.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like if you even said, Evan, can you help me find a new pair of pants? I would dive in on that. Like that would be my mission for the weekend.
I'm so tempted.
Be like, what pants speak to the essence of Dr. Tessa's soul? You know?
I want a new jumpsuit. Find me a jumpsuit.
From the bottom of the heart of Australia. Well, not anymore. She's moving. Have you moved to Melbourne? Are you there now?
I'm there now. I'm in my new apartment.
Okay. So
and
are you done? Have you left? Is everything?
No, I'm not done. I'm not done. No, I'm not done, and I won't be done. They'll be flying in and flying out.
Oh, wow.
So we're in a transitional phase at the moment, just setting up here. We've got mattresses on the floor and beanbags and camp chairs. And
oh my God,
so
it's so
cool.
Exciting.
I know, I feel like I'm 13, right? I'm
right?
On the floor. Right, it's the funnest.
What, did I tell you when I went to Tony Robbins with Mark, I actually slept on the floor?
Yes, you did tell me that. You slept on the hard floor.
On the with like one blanket. Because they couldn't, fire regulations wouldn't let them bring in a mattress. Like, this is amazing. I get to sleep on the floor. I'm so excited.
So grown up. So no, there'll be some fly in, fly out. So we're transitioning the balance. So at the moment, the balance is still mostly Hobart, and the balance will become increasingly mostly Melbourne, and I'll be flying in, flying out, and busy stuff.
All right. Very exciting.
Yeah. It is. But yeah, I want a new jumpsuit.
A jumpsuit? Is this legit? Yeah. You're going to wear a jumpsuit?
I'm wearing one now.
Really?
Yeah, I love them. They're so
It's like a one piece?
Yeah. It's like a little play suit for grown-ups. You gotta love that, right?
I'm thinking like purple velvet.
Oh man, find me a purple velvet jumpsuit.
Right?
And we'll be friends for life.
Purple velvet, you can get it. You have to get it. Purple velvet, maybe even with a tail. Telling you.
This conversation's gotten ridiculous. You need to sleep more before you speak to me next time, sir.
No, come on. You would rock the purple velvet with a little tail jumpsuit.
I know I would, right?
That's what I'm saying.
I'd need the little horns to match. And then it would be party time. That would be perfect.
I think you need it. But that's the challenge. Like that's what I love. I was thinking more like a cat's tail, more not like the devil tail. Like just a tail.
Oh, well, maybe I mean ears instead of horns.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think that's probably what I had in my head, because I thought cat as well. Cats don't have horns, do they?
Well, I don't know. Very, very evil cats.
Tasmanian cats have horns. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
the self-care path took me down that conversation with Nina, asking the questions, led to the stretching, the workouts, the dancing, and now the walking meetings.
It's interesting, isn't it? When we start looking at self-care and self-compassion honestly with ourselves, what changes is the quality of life quotient. You know, like you start bringing in the quality of life things. People assume when we talk self-care, we're talking about bubble baths and chocolate and that sort of stuff. But it's the more meaningful stuff is where we have to change. So, you know, I love it that it's all about what you can dial up with you and Nina, and you just waking up with the sun. I mean, these are quality of life variables. That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Wow. All right. Great.
It's a beautiful thing.
Waking up with the sun.
Yeah, you hippie, you.
What did you call me?
A hippie.
A hippie. Wow. All right. Great.
Dawn of Aquarius and all that stuff, rising with the sun.
Is my next challenge to go hug a tree?
Well, you know, there is a thing called forest bathing. Have you heard of this?
No.
Well, there is research that shows that no, there's no nudity involved. You could wear a purple cat suit made of velvet if you wanted. And it comes from, there is a Japanese tradition of this, and I can't remember the Japanese word for it, but there's been some research that shows that being in nature improves mood. You know, it's all kinds of good for you, right?
Okay.
So this idea of forest bathing comes from Japan, and it is really just being in nature and soaking up the energy of being amongst the trees in the forest.
Every day, sun. That's the second part. Sing sun.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, you know, I'm like 10 minutes from the CBD of Melbourne. Now, to give you an indication, I was talking to a friend yesterday, we were talking about Melbourne traffic, and there was a recent poll released that shows that Melbourne is like 2 spots in the ranking away from New York in terms of badness of traffic.
Wow.
Okay. So
Did not know that.
I'm 10 minutes down the road from CBD, but look at all these trees.
Yeah.
Melbourne's been voted many, many times world's most livable city because of things like all the trees.
All the trees.
So it gives you that sense of being part of nature. So there was some stuff that I read once that said that even if you can see trees or even if you can see the ocean, it still has a benefit for you. So if you're in an office working 9 to 5, if you've got a view of water or a view of nature, it's a more pleasant experience. And we know this is common sense, right? But it's just been proved by science that it's a more nurturing experience than being somewhere where your view is of other buildings.
I love it. I mean,
so yeah, you can go hug a tree.
The walking meetings are great. I haven't hugged a tree. I don't think I've ever hugged a tree.
You don't have to hug a tree. But being in nature is good. But you have snowstorms right now. We have bushfires and you have snowstorms.
No, but that's the best. Like, of course you have to start the walking meetings when it's record level snowfall and cold in Toronto. Like, it hasn't been this much snow and cold in 30 years in Toronto. Of course, that's the time to start the walking meetings for 2 hours outside, right? Of course
it is.
That's the best. You don't do it when it's just super easy. Come on, what a cop out, right?
Hey, I'm with you.
Okay, hold on. This is super off topic, but not so much. Let me. I want to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Slowly, yeah.
Oh.
So I want that handbag though.
That's what I was about to say. Like this furry one, right?
It's got my name on it.
So first off, I didn't realize that a jumpsuit was basically a suit. I didn't realize it was so like, I don't know, that I had a belt. And,
so grown up. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was so grown up. I felt it was more loungy. So this with the tail wouldn't work. But as soon as I saw this picture, I'm like, that handbag is Dr. Tess.
That is all kinds of me.
It really is.
All kinds of me.
See, I should be your creative director. That's it.
You should be my creative director. You see, that's what I need.
I look at this bag and like, you could rock this out. You need that purple jumpsuit with that
bag. I need all of that.
Yeah,
you all of that.
Yeah, you could definitely crush
it. I'm actually sitting on a fluffy, you can't see, but I'm sitting on a fluffy beanbag. It's fluffy.
Right. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. It matches.
It's floofy. That's what we say here in the Crawley household. It's floofy. So yeah, the floofy handbag needs to come to my house immediately.
I already did my
and if you were my creative director, you would make that happen.
I would. See, I would crush it as I don't want to do it, but I would crush it as a creative director. That's what I need.
Totally.
Those people.
Totally.
Anyway, so the weird random assignments is just, I guess, part of, even Alex, when I had him come work for me, I didn't think he would be an instructor. And I told him on the car ride on the way to school, like I was going to teach the class. I told him in the car ride on the way to the class to say, you go teach it for 3 hours, which he'd never done before. And he's got like 10 minutes of prep.
And I bet he rocked it.
He was okay. I expect people to suck too during, like, especially when it's something new. I care more that they just stepped up and tried.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you taking from all this? What do I need to work on for the next month? What's Evan 2.0 human being next, Tess?
I think sleep is still on the agenda somehow.
Wow, really? I've been crushing the sleep. Apart from last night and maybe one night in Calgary with the jet lag and everything.
Yeah.
I'm getting 8.5 to 9 hours.
Well, that was the question. That was the question that popped into my head, actually. around, because your book tour is coming up in January, which
Mhm.
isn't far away.
Mhm.
So you will need to be thinking about how you're going to manage all of this with
For
all the
sleep?
travel, sleep and self-care and self-compassion, plus all the travel, all the newness, all the time zone changes. When do you start your book tour?
Self-compassion is interesting. I feel I'm crushing self-compassion, but maybe that's my biggest blind spot. I don't know. The self-care with like health, I can get around. The self-compassion I feel is more like emotional kind of
It
stuff.
is.
Oh,
It
okay.
is.
I feel like
It
I
is.
crush that, but
And
maybe
it's
I
the
don't.
thing that
Maybe
people struggle with more. People struggle with self-compassion more than self-care.
I'm either like it's either the whole thing or it's almost nothing. Like it could be so big that I'm not even seeing it and I'm just blind to it. Because I
Yeah.
feel like I crush self-compassion. Like I just expected not to be able to wake up today. I'm pumped that I woke up at 10:30.
Yeah, I just don't know that crushing self-compassion is kind of the approach that you should be taking. That's not quite the attitude I'd like you to strike there.
What's an exit like where? So the self-care made sense for me for the other stuff.
Yeah.
And if you said like more, so even the tour, the lens of for the tour, how am I gonna? I mean, this year we have a driver, so that's gonna help. I'm not driving on the tour, so somebody's driving, doing the whole driving. I'm gonna be a passenger, so that eases some. We worked out a bunch of the kinks last year with this tour with Nina and my assistant Sandra organizing everything. We're not going as far either. We're only going like San Diego to Toronto is super far. We're sticking down the East Coast.
Yeah, that's
so
a really long way.
The time zone change won't be as much. The travel distance won't be as much. But still, self-care to me would be like, how do I stick on my workout routine? How do I stick on my diet? How do I get enough sleep? How do I make sure that I'm rested and prepared for the event, so that I can crush it? The self-compassion.
Yeah, and we've also talked before about boundaries, and I think this is where the self-compassion part is probably going to.
Okay.
Oh, you've got all your ears on now, I can see.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this.
I know, right? So this is where the self-compassion part is possibly going to trip you over because you're so dedicated to answering all the questions in the room at the time because the energy's there and all that stuff. And yet you need, and I know that we've talked about this before, you've asked Nina to help you wrap things up at a reasonable hour so that you can get decent sleep. So that having that boundary in place and sticking to that, and then being compassionate with yourself when you stick to the boundary, because I suspect you don't let yourself off lightly when you pull the pin on an evening, because there's always more conversations that can be had, or when you finish something before you would perhaps ideally like to finish something because it's in your best interest to do so, as opposed to the evening has come to a natural end. Oh, it stumped you.
I'm just trying to not knee-jerk reaction it.
I know.
I think I get out of it pretty quickly. Even the whole sleep thing, it's like, okay, this is what it is. I'm gonna crush it, and then now I'm gonna add the sixth one, which is serve and go help other people.
Yeah. So it's a balance between all of those things, and that's where the self-compassion. Maybe self-compassion needs to be your 7th S, because it's a balance between all those things and just being conscious of, we talked about this last time, being conscious of any attitudinal stuff that is not serving you.
What have you seen? This is again, like, I feel like I'm crushing it. So this is where like the light on the blind spot could be game changing. If you said self-care, I could think of a lot of different places.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in all of our interactions that would lead to
your expectations? Your expectations of yourself are really high,
right?
And I'd say, I'm guessing 99% of the time you meet your own expectations. So you expect yourself to meet these high expectations. And I think that you're fairly what's the word? I don't know. It's somewhere between unrelenting and unforgiving around those expectations of yourself. And so we're now in a zone where we're talking about self-care and looking after yourself and getting the sleep sorted and all of that stuff. And when you're going on your book tour, there's going to be so many things pulling at your energy. And I'm just wondering, at what point will the expectations on yourself clash with your need for self-care? And when that happens, self-compassion is what's going to be challenged. Does that make sense?
I'm thinking it through. I think what could happen, I even think last night I parked the car. I thought it was somewhere else. I remember taking stairs. I parked in the basement. I thought I parked in the first floor. I'm like, oh my God, my car's stolen.
Yeah.
My car was gone.
Yeah.
I have a million things in my hand. I have to get out of the parking lot before the ticket expires. And then I lost my ticket because I'm trying to find the car. So I don't know where the ticket is. I'm walking around my car is stolen. I don't know where the ticket is. It's chaos. This is why Nina handles all this stuff for me, because like I forget everything. So anyway, I ended up figuring out, I find the car. It's not stolen. She's on a different floor. The guy, the park, I figured whatever the rate is, I'll just pay it again, because when you lost your ticket, they let you get out, right? He wouldn't let me get out. I had to go in. Anyway, in the moment, it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, I lost a ticket? Are you kidding me? Not that I suck. It's just, how do I get through this? But fairly quickly after it's over, it's like a snap to, I did the best I could with what I had, like, to be gentle on yourself.
Yeah. I'm
pretty good at being gentle on myself after the moment. I can get there super, like, I'm not going to dwell on that this thing happened.
Yeah.
But in the moment,
but that's an issue. That's a moment that isn't so important to you.
Okay.
But that's not a values challenged moment for your values.
Okay.
The values challenged moment for you would be somebody really wants your advice and they're at the end of the queue and Nina's saying, wrap it up. And this person's gone, I just want to ask this question about X. And you know, it's going to be a longer conversation than you can commit to right now. And you're going to have to say, look, sorry, man, but I just have to wrap this up. That would be a values challenged moment. You would really want to serve that person and give the value and do all the things. But it might be one of those moments you've already stayed an hour or two longer than you planned and you really have to because you've got a 6 a.m. flight the next morning and blah, 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 blah. There's reasons why you have to put self-care first.
Yes. But that's the thing, like the self-care, I will
and you can do that.
Yeah.
But I've heard you talk about moments where you feel you've let people down.
Yeah.
And it's been that kind of thing. And that's where the self-compassion has been harder to see from my perspective.
But I don't let people down that often because that was a challenge before. Like, when was the last time you actually let somebody down? Well, it's not.
Yeah, because
I want to feel like, yes, this spot, push on it. That's the spot, right?
Yeah. So I am pushing on the spot. You don't let people down because you're so values driven.
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, it's a great quality. I'm not saying you shouldn't be, but I think at the moment we are talking about what you need to look after you. And this is where when you're on the book tour in particular, this is where there's going to be this potential for the clash between what you need and what your values are yelling at you to do. And that's where you're going to have to draw on additional resources of self-compassion to be kinder to yourself around potentially letting people down or cutting things off early or disappointing people, because you don't like to do that stuff.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I don't like it, but I also don't much. I'm afraid of it, but I don't actually do it much.
Yeah.
If I did, then yes, then I'll do my best to make it up and holy cow, over deliver. And then still, if I can't make it up to it, then I'll go through the 5 stages and end up at acceptance, and then the 6th stage of service. Once I feel like there's nothing else I can do, and I can see that desire to help and like not disappoint people, hitting my self-care for sure, like not sleeping, not leaving when I should have, yes. I'm struggling on the self-compassion part to say like, okay, I'd let them down, and I don't know, I'm not, that one I'm having a hard time connecting to. Self-care, yes. In acute situations, self-compassion, I'm struggling on. Does that make sense? That
Okay. Yeah. So I guess the conflict will come for you. The inner conflict will come when you do make a decision to draw a line in the sand in favor of self-care, because otherwise you'll lean towards letting self-care slip. So if you decide to draw a line in the sand in favor of self-care, that's going to come into conflict with that service-driven value of yours and that avoidance of disappointing others. And I'm just saying that's where you will need to ramp up your self-compassion to counteract that feeling of disappointing people.
Yeah. I think I'm super pumped to be full of BS and like you throw the water on my face. I feel the challenge is in the making the decision. I feel like once I've made the decision in favor of self-care, then I will have the self-compassion. So like this is the decision. This is what we're doing. Sorry guys, I really need to go. I love you. Appreciate you. Email me. We'll book a time, whatever. Or I can't help you with this, but I'm cheering for you. It's in the indecision that causes the stress of I should go, but I'm still here, or I'm letting him down, but I can still do more, but I haven't decided. After the decision's made, then it's like a super quick shift to acceptance, which is self-compassion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I guess, I'm interested to see for you whether there's a challenge, in how long it takes you to make those decisions in those moments, and whether that's something that you can just be thinking about. I don't see a problem. I'm flagging things to be thought about. That's all.
All right. I'll ask Nina. I think I crushed self-compassion.
No, that's good. And that is good. That is really good, because I want you to be all over that stuff. These are conversations we need to have, but if you think you're all over that stuff, then that's awesome.
This is like, when do you feel not good enough? When do you feel like a failure as a person? I don't internalize a lot of that stuff. Maybe I'm not doing big enough things. I don't know. No,
you don't need to wish to internalize those things. I think that
I will just default to skill set. Like, I just wasn't good enough. I don't have the skill set. I don't know how to do this yet. Right? It's a skill set thing. It's not a I suck.
Yeah. Okay.
As a human.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm amazing as a person, but I just suck at most things.
So that doesn't sound like self-compassion.
That doesn't sound like self-compassion? Really? I think of it as the definition of self-compassion.
Well, it depends on how you interpret it. I know you love to say that. You love to say, I suck at this or I suck at that. And that's a phrase that's come out of somewhere for you. But, I hear it as criticism. And I know you don't say it as criticism, but I hear it as criticism. And I think that, for me personally, something that I'm not good at, it's something that doesn't interest me, and it's not a priority to learn. And therefore, you know, I don't have a skill set in that area, which is the same thing. It's the same thing that you're saying. You just say it differently in a way that I hear it as harsher than you are intending it to sound.
I think it comes from.
And I just wonder if that's a habit. I mean, it's a habit.
Yeah. Well, it's one for myself. I think everything critical, like, I think I'm my biggest critic. You're your biggest critic. Most people watching are the biggest critic.
Yeah.
But it's based in a foundation of love, where for most people, they're the biggest critic, but they're not their biggest fan.
Yeah.
So no matter how much love you pour on me, like, I love myself more. It's based off of love. And so the more love, I see it as like yin yang, right? Like the blue, the black and the white. The more love you have, the harder you can even go on yourself. I think most people should be harder on themselves, but they can't handle it because they have no self-love. And so they can't, like, any little bit extra harder, they're going to walk off the cliff. Yeah. But if you love yourself more, you can handle then even more criticism. So I feel like I'm crushing that or great at that. But the other reason is it's inflammatory, which causes conversation, which when you go hard on something, I'm taking people, so I'm just so used to it because it's part of what I do. Like, I want people to take a giant step, which gives them permission to take a tiny step. Yeah. So it's like, well, they say, well, you don't suck, but go off and do this. Right. So it creates momentum.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Okay.
I can't think of the last time I felt I suck as a human. I think maybe backstage. Did we talk about this backstage at my speaking gig with Brendan Burchard?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, like that's the last, like, little micro moment, like 90 seconds. Yeah. Of feeling like, oh my God, like I forgot. But even still, it wasn't I suck. It's like, I forgot my lines. How am I going to start? This is going to suck, but not that I suck.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, I'm very interested.
Am I full of BS? Does this make sense? Or am I like...
It makes sense. It makes sense. It does make sense.
But I don't want to be full of BS. Like, if this is the thing, this could be the whole thing. Like, it's the blind spots that we suck at.
It is. It's the blind spots that trip us over. And I guess, you know, I mean, you're pushing forward now with the new book and the YouTube course and so many exciting things that are happening, and the tour and all that sort of stuff. But meanwhile, also trying to look inwards at things that may or may not need to change for yourself. And so, you know, you've got so much going on. And so I guess my point is to raise a little bit of a flag and just say, not seeing it as a problem, but here's something to think about while you're on this journey. And here's something else to think about, and here's something else to think about, and here's something else to think about. Because I think all of these things, you know, these conversations that we've been having, I know that you're working hard at changing the things you need to change so that you have better energy and you have better stamina and you look after yourself and all that stuff. Yeah.
So what's my homework for the next month? Here's your prescription, Evan.
Okay. I want you to let me know what time you go to bed tonight, because I think that's going to be interesting.
Okay.
But
do you want a daily sleep log of my?
No, I don't want a daily sleep log.
I can do it.
We are not. No, please don't.
I'm 13.
No. Yeah, exactly right. No, I think tonight we'll be curious. I'm interested to know what time you crash tonight is my point.
Ooh, okay. I could probably go along. One night is not a big deal.
13.
But I'm feeling, I'll probably sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So what time we go to bed tonight? Okay, and then?
I'm just curious. No, and then I just want you to notice if there is that critical voice sometimes sneaking in. I know for me, it's when I'm tired. So at the moment, obviously, with what I'm doing with my life, I'm exhausted at the moment, and that's when my critical voice sneaks in. And I've gotten very good over the last little while of noticing it and recognizing it and saying, oh yeah, I'm tired. That's that tired voice giving me a hard time, and I don't absorb it. And I think you've got that same skill. I think that you've got that skill of noticing nonsense talk, you know, giving yourself that hard time, noticing when that happens, and you've gotten very skilled at recognizing it and not letting it take hold. But I'm just curious to know if you notice any triggers that let the self-compassion slip. So that would be not so much looking for the triggers themselves, but noticing the opposite of self-compassion, noticing when you're really not being your own fan.
So the critical, because I love a critical voice, but you're talking about a critical voice of me saying that I suck as a human, not I suck at a skill.
Well, I'm talking more about attitudes about yourself that really are deflating and not going to energize you to move forward with where you're heading. And these are the you know, the self-compassion that we talk about. You know, it's about saying, okay, some days good enough is enough, and it's about saying some days I can't perform to the standard that I expect of myself, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's that's self-compassion, because you are every day pushing it to be the best that you can be, and some days sometimes the line is closer, you know, than other days. You know, some days you can push it further and some days you can't.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know, on the days where you can't push it as hard, how do you treat yourself? How do you talk to yourself?
Okay, I have an answer, but I'll think on it. I won't need your opinion.
You've always got an answer. That's the problem. You've always got an answer.
It could be. I'm open to it, right? Okay, so I'm writing down, notice a critical voice, attitudes about myself that are deflating. That's what you want me to pay attention to.
Just stuff that doesn't serve self-compassion. Just looking for it, that's all. Yeah. Just looking for it and noticing it, so that, you know, ahead of the book tour, you've got some extra skills up your sleeve to notice that stuff. If that conflict with your values and your need for self-care, if those things come into conflict, just the things that you'll need to be looking out for, because otherwise it will trigger decisions that aren't necessarily in your favor, one way or the other.
All right.
See how you go.
Tess always gives me the hard work. It's always the hard work.
Always the hard work.
Things. I know. Cool.
I know. You would like me to give you a list of things to do that you can tick off 5 minutes flat.
Yep. Yeah. Hug a tree.
Never going to happen.
Yep.
Never
Hug a tree. You know, write a love letter. You know, tell me about your most painful moment. You know, awesome. Yes.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Pay attention to moments that are deflating. Like, oh, okay. I'll do it. I like it. I like the challenge. See, that's already it. Like, I'm not getting what I want. I'm going to crush this. Here we go. I love hard, right? But that's it in action. That's how it works. Anyway, whatever. No, this is just a start. I suck at this. Let's go. We're going to build it up. I'm going to get some answers from this one.
Well, good.
And I think we legit need to write to Kubler-Ross and let them know about the 6 stage service.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. You do that. Let me know how you go.
All right. Thank you, Tess. Appreciate the love.
Always.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
If you want to see Dr. Tess push me last month, where we talked about how to develop healthy self-compassion and what's depleting my energy bucket, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.